off, touch some grass. Hi guys, I'm Marley Silva and welcome back to my channel. It is so chilly. It's 23 degrees, but it's September and it just feels so chilly and so cool. It's still nice out, but it's very cold in my opinion. Whew, I just ate really good pasta salad and shrimp and I filmed it, so I'll insert some little B-roll for you guys. I also filmed a mukbang, which I do not know if I'll put that on my channel, just because it was kind of a gong show. So we'll see how I feel about that. If I decide to post it, it'll be the video before this one. All right, I wanted to do a video on my YouTube journey and filmmaking experience. What? That's not the right title. I can't think straight. Oh, my YouTube journey and film experience. So, when it comes to my journey, I definitely have quite a few points to talk about, so I'll try to section this video into different topics. But the first one will be editing. Well, should I switch it? We're already off to a great start, you guys. Okay, so the first point I'm gonna chat about is when I started photo and then how I switched to video. So when I was younger, my very first camera was a Canon Rebel XS. It was a digital, what was it, like a digital DSLR? Yeah, DSLR. I think it had like 12 megapixels. I'll insert a picture for sure. And that was my first camera. I remember it was like $600 from Future Shop. This is way before Best Buy. So it was from Future Shop, and I remember my uncle got me a bunch of Future Shop gift cards. And I had like birthday money and it was like a whole thing. So I saved up and I got my very first DSLR digital camera. And I believe it came with like an 18 to 50, it was like an 18 to 50 or 18 to 55 kit lens. And it was a Canon XS digital camera. And I'll never forget the day that I traded it in to get the R6. I now shoot an R6 Mark II, which I love so much. This camera is probably my favorite camera I've ever had. It's just so powerful. I'm so happy with it. But my very first camera was a photo only camera. And I believe it was like 12 megapixels. And when I was a kid, I used to set up my camera on my mom's old tripod. So my mom had a tripod with like a screw mount. And it was for her handheld camcorder. Like my mom literally had a oh my God. handheld camcorder that she used to bring to hockey games and sporting events. And she would shoot like family home video. Literally, like if you ask me like, where'd you get it? I'm like, I don't know, my mother. So I just remember always seeing her with like the digital camera as a kid, and something in me was like, I want to do that. Like I want to do that. So yeah, that was my first camera. I used her old tripod to screw in my camera, and I would take photo shoots. And I'm not going to share any of the pictures just because they are super personal and they're from when I was a kid, so I just don't know how comfortable I feel sharing them, just genuinely. But I remember I did this one specific photo shoot, and it was in my old childhood house living room. And it was me lying down with a bunch of on the way to die roses. Basically, the roses were about to die, so I took them and I put them all around me and I lied in them and made like a photo shoot on the ground. And I'll never forget, like the tripod was, I didn't even have all three legs on the ground. I had like one leg on the table, and then like it was just totally not safe. And that's actually how I broke my lens when I had that camera. I was leveled incorrectly, and it just, all I saw was like when I was taking a shot was it start to tilt forward and smash, and the lens smashed. And I'll never forget it. We had to send it to Canon and they fixed it. But as a kid, I was lucky because like if things like that happened, we would always fix them. but looking back, it's just like, holy shit, like, I'll never forget that. But when I did the photo shoot with roses, I had a PC at the time. I was like in middle school, and one way or another, I found out I could get Photoshop on it. All of this is alleged. That's so funny. I had so many memories. And I edited the photo of me with roses in Photoshop on my PC when I was in middle school. Middle school. And it just turned out so good. And ever since then, I was just manipulating and editing and color correcting and changing photos from what it started to be something completely different. Was just so, it just like really got my creative juices flowing, and it was just something that I really loved doing so much. And in high school, that was like the height of YouTube. Everybody and their mother knew about YouTube, and that's where you would go to watch videos. And I remember when I was first thinking about it, I was like, oh, well, I don't really like video, because with a photo, you can have a still image that doesn't move, and you can edit and change it to make something that will never change. It'll always be the same to what you make it. With video, though, like, you have so many uncontrolled variables. Like, my hair is moving, I'm talking, things in the background are moving, there's sounds and audio. Like, it's just so much more intricate. There's so many more layers to video. And I don't know what it was that made me make the jump. I just think I saw YouTube, and I wanted to be able to have a voice, and I wanted to be able to share videos. And then when you see movies as a kid and stuff, and you see like the creative direction the movie took, or the color correcting or the editing, I think that also sparked something in me to want to do video. But that was basically how I started, was with photo, and I graduated up to video. So that's the first thing I wanted to kind of chat about for this video. The second is, we'll do filming. So when it comes to filming, I actually didn't have a nice camera until maybe within the last 3 years. Like, if you guys look at my main channel, you'll see that my videos were shot on like, oh my God, what was it? A Canon T. Oh my God, what was it? I don't even remember. Did I even have a Canon T? I must have. I don't know if I did. It was a Canon, I don't remember, you guys, a Canon T2? I don't remember. I don't think I had a fancy camera though. Oh my God, the mosquitoes are going crazy. If I did, I don't remember what camera I had. I genuinely do not. I don't think I had anything fancy. But anyway, my earlier videos were shot on that. I don't remember what it was to save my life. It's escaped my mind. I'm getting eaten alive by mosquitoes, and I can't think of it straight. But those are where my earlier videos are shot on. And then I finally took my first jump into mirrorless, or mirrorless full frame, full frame, because I was shooting on a camera with 1080p. And I don't remember what camera it was. I think it was a Canon. It's on my main channel. I talk about what camera it is and my gear. So if you go back, you can find it. But I was shooting in 1080p, and you don't realize how limiting 1080p is until you try to edit because you can't crop in at all. Like, it's mushy. You know, full frame is just so much better. But I had started on a 1080p, and that was the beginning of my channel. And my first computer, I guess I should talk about this too now that I think of it, because it's most likely important. My first computer was a 2012 MacBook Pro. So editing 1080p on a 2012 MacBook Pro was completely fine, because the computer could handle the codecs and the footage. Wasn't too big file sizes. It did take forever to render, and you couldn't really play in real time that often. So there were definitely like limiting factors or bottlenecks for sure, but it got the job done for the little time that I was able to use it. And then I upgraded my 2012 MacBook Pro internally. So I went from, I think it was like 4 gigs of RAM to 16. And then I went from like a 500 gig HDD to which is like a hard drive with moving parts, to a SSD, which is the solid state drive. It's the second random number to call me while I'm filming. Really annoying, like just email me. A solid state drive is a drive without moving parts inside, so it can move faster and there's no chance of it breaking really easy. Whereas like a hard drive has moving components inside, and over time those moving components age and it gets slower and it's just not as reliable as like an SSD. So I upgraded the RAM, I upgraded the storage. Pretty sure that was all I could upgrade on that thing. And it did get the job done better than it did before, and it helped me continue to create and continue to edit in Final Cut. I think I started in iMovie. Fast forward to COVID, I was living with my ex-boyfriend at the time, and I was actually able to save extra money, or have extra money, because I was only paying half of my rent and half of life. And I upgraded to my very first full frame camera, the Canon R6. And I love the Canon R6 so much. What was my first lens? I think it was this one, the 35mm. It was either the 35mm 1.8 or the, I remember I upgraded to the 16mm 2.8 after I got the 35. So I think it went like that for me. And that's when I noticed a complete shift. So when I got my new camera, I get up to look at my camera when I'm done and it says movie not recording. Oh, ho, ho, ho. Where do I start? Oh, I need to add something into the list. I finished the video. I was extremely emotional, and it was probably one of the best feelings and videos I think I've ever made. I get up to look at my camera when I'm done and it says movie not recording. Now I know how people feel when they say they have to re-record a video, which I have no problem doing. But like, it'll never be the same as it was the last time. And like, I literally, I need to put the auto switch card feature on my camera turned on. And I should have cleared out the memory cards before I started filming, and lots of mistakes. So it literally wouldn't be my YouTube journey and film experience without my movie not recording, my cards not switching, the memory card becoming full, and me losing probably like 20 to 25 minutes of footage. Oh my God. Oh my God. I'm gonna get over it, but like, I can't believe that just happened, because now I have to go through everything again. Oh, I need to hit the vape for the next chunk of this video. Christ. All right, so I had left off at which camera I got with my R6, and I think it must have been, well, I don't even know what I talked about now. Oh boy. Okay, so R6. I think when I got that camera, my first lens was the 35 1.8, if I'm not mistaken. And that's the one I'm shooting on right now. And then after that, I upgraded to a 16mm 2.6, and that was what I used for so many videos on my main channel. And I love that lens because it's wide angle and it has a beautiful aperture. But I am now filming on a 35 1.8 because I love the focal length so much more, and I love the depth of field so much more. That's what I meant to say, the depth of field. So I owned that camera for a year, and then after the year went by, they released the Canon R6 Mark II. And Henry's in Manitoba, Canada, if you have your camera for like a year or less than a year, you can put that camera towards a brand new one and like get a discount. So that's what I did. I traded in my R6 for my R6 Mark II, and it is literally my favorite camera. Like, it does not overheat. So hard for me to film this again because I just filmed this and finished it. because it doesn't overheat. There's no record limit, and I've never had an issue with this camera. I love it so much. My previous camera would overheat. There was a record limit. I had to put it in the freezer between takes. That camera was extremely limited. It was so powerful and so perfect for what it was, but it was extremely limited. This one is actually downsampled from either 5.4K or 5.1K. So when you shoot in 4K, you're actually getting 5.1 or 5.4 downsampled. So it just makes it that much sharper and crisper. It's beautiful. I love this camera so much. And that's kind of my progression from photo to video. So I started on the XS. I got a digital camera, which I don't know why I'm blanking. Was it a T2i? What was it? A T7i? No. I don't remember. I really don't. I genuinely do not remember. And then that was my progression to the R6 Mark II. And that's what I currently shoot on. So next we'll go into, I'll touch on computer just a little because I'm not sure if I touched on it. So for my computer, I originally started with a MacBook Pro 2012. I think I touched on that a little bit. I was explaining the difference between HDD and SSD. So I did touch on that. My new computer is an M1 Max MacBook Pro, fully spec'd out and 1 terabyte of storage, and it handles 4K, 422, 10-bit footage beautifully. It's so, so, so beautiful. I love it so much. And that was a $6,000 investment on top of the other investments for my camera. So a lot of money. But during COVID, like 3 years ago when I was in my last relationship in love, and I'm sorry if I'm all over the place. I recorded this whole video and now I don't remember what I said and what I didn't say. So I'm gonna try my best. But 3 years ago or whatever in COVID, I lived with him. So I had extra money. You know, I went half on the bills, went half on everything. So I was able to put more money and more savings towards the things that I wanted. And some of that was to my camera and lenses and microphone, and some of that was to my computer. And I love it so much. So that's the computer chunk of it. What should we do next? Filming, I guess. So when it comes to filming, my videos on my previous channel were shot in 1080. That was like on my main channel, those videos were shot in 1080, and that's how I started out on my MacBook Pro 2012 was, you know, in 1080. And then when I got my R6, we jumped up to 4K with the new computer, and now we're shooting still 4K. I do up-res in 8K, and then it shoots down from 5.4 to 5.1 or something, downsampled with this camera. So that's my filming progression. I guess in filming I'll also include lenses. So on my Rebel XS that was only photo, I had an 18 to 50 or 18 to 55, and then when I upgraded to the R6, I had the 35mm 1.8 as well as the 16mm 2.8, and I still use that on my R6 Mark II. And jumping right from filming into, well, actually I'll touch on this too. So I shoot in C-Log 3, and I color correct inside of Final Cut with Dehancer Pro, and I'll touch on that in the editing section. But so yeah, I shoot in log. But when it comes to film, I fell in love with film 3 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, 2 to 3 years ago. And I'm talking like 35mm film. Like I fell in absolute love with it. I have probably 20 to 25 film cameras, and my autofocus legend, and the one that I shoot on when I travel or just usually like my daily, is a Canon T2 SLR with a 24 2.8 pancake, and that is so reliable. When I was in Portugal, I would take that and do all my shots that has autofocus. So you can picture like a 35mm film camera with autofocus and like true, really, really good autofocus. It was just beautiful. And the film that I shot on was Fujifilm Xperia 400, I believe, before they discontinued it. And I just loved I just fell in love with the way that film made me feel. I have like 20 to 25 cameras. I remember being at the thrift store and I found a fully mechanical Canon camera from the war, and I'll insert pictures, of course. But the funniest thing is it came with the original manual, and it's a fully mechanical camera. So like there's no batteries. If something breaks, you have to go in and fix the mechanics of the camera. It's fully manual. And it came with a 50mm 1.4. And I remember when I got that camera, I was blown away. And when I took pictures on it and saw it, I felt like I was in the 30s, 40s, or 50s. Like the amount of emotion it pulls out of you seeing photos from a camera that's in a completely different time of life than when you were born is just crazy. And it's so beautiful with color film. It's just, that camera to me is something I want my wedding shot on from a professional photographer. Like it's just absolutely beautiful. So that was kind of my journey with film. I fell in love with film so much money on cartridges and cameras, and developing the film, which no one talks about. Developing the film is so expensive, but I fell in love with it so much. And that kind of ties into editing. So when it comes to editing, I started out in iMovie on my old MacBook. Started out in iMovie, then when I got a little bit more techie, well, technically I started out in Photoshop on my PC. And then when I got my first MacBook Pro 2012, I started in iMovie. And then as I progressed and learned more, I went to Final Cut, which is something I still use today. Final Cut I love so much. I can edit so quickly in it. It's my favorite video editing platform ever. And I won't change because it's just something that it's like second nature to me. And I was using Premiere Pro for the 2 years during COVID. Like if you look at my main channel, there's like a 1.5 year chunk or a year where all my videos are edited with Premiere. And the reason I stopped using Premiere was because I found a plugin for Final Cut called 𝘠𝘁𝘳𝘴 Pro, and it gives you the film look inside of one application. So when I was using Premiere, I used Premiere strictly to stabilize the footage, get it corrected from Rec. 709, and then color correct it. That is what I loved Premiere for. But when I found 𝘠𝘁𝘳𝘴, I never really touched Premiere ever again. And the thing with Premiere is that Adobe, they now have where not only do they force you in a subscription model, but they also have something they came out with this year. I don't know if they retracted the statement or if it still stands, but they basically have the rights to your content. So if you use their platforms to create content, they can license or use your content basically, which a lot of artists are like, what the fuck? Including myself. I was like, what? So I don't use Premiere anymore. I use Final Cut, and then I use the 𝘠𝘁𝘳𝘴 Pro plugin. It has film effects, bloom, halation. You can push and pull the film. You can obviously get it back to 709 from log. It's just so beautiful, and the fact that it's inside of Final Cut just makes it a no-brainer for me. So that's kind of my editing journey and my progression when it comes to editing. I think I'm going to come back to all these points and just make sure I covered everything, because it's 5 o'clock and I've been filming for an hour and I literally lost the footage. So please forgive me. In the last video, I actually got really, really emotional during it. And for me, it's hard to like get that emotion back because I was so passionate in the last video and it's just gone. So please forgive me. It would not be a YouTube journey and film experience without Marley's auto switching and card failing and literally not recording the footage. So love it. All right, next we're going to talk about coding and blogging. So when I was in middle school, there was something called Tumblr, and it feels really weird to talk about because when I was a kid, I didn't have a lot of friends. Like I had like a small friend group and like friend groups, but like the friends that the people that I wanted to be friends with, I never got invited to like those parties or hangouts. I was never really invited, but I would always walk home with them or like be friends with them. Like I was in the mix, but like not in the mix, if that makes sense. And all of us had like Tumblr and blogs and certain stuff, but it was never talked about. And like even the word hipster, if you said that, was so cringy. Like it was like people would look at you like you're like not good. So in middle school, no one talked about it, but everyone used Tumblr. And it's just funny. But I obviously had a blog, and I won't be sharing it because it's highly personal. And middle school was like a really interesting time because like self-harm, cutting, trigger warning, all of that stuff was like, it was just like we were all so sad and we were all just so depressed. And that was like an escape. Like I think my blog turned like 14, 15 or 16. Like I get emails every year that it turns older. And I think I have like over hundreds of thousands of likes in there. It's just so funny. But that was where my love for coding came from, was that website, because you could go in and you could you could code for not being able to right click, not being able to view the frame of the website, not being able to click and drag, not being able to copy and paste. Like you could go code that into your blog. And I loved that you could like code it, update it, and then if the shaping or the numbering wasn't right, like the text wasn't aligned, you could go in and fix it and update it in real time. And that's where my love of coding came in, because I was able to customize themes and blogs and different things and really tweak it to my liking just based on like text code. And it was just the coolest thing to me. And you know, blogging plays a part in that. I think my Tumblr, last time I edited it, like the last thing it said was I fell for him like a suicide from a bridge, which I don't know, like I was such a sad, depressing, creative, weird kid. Like I was just so sad. I think we all were. Like it was just a weird time in middle school to have access to all that information and like blog and just, I don't know, I think it like grew me up a lot faster. And like, you know, 30-year-olds blog and like do that kind of thing, but I was like literally in middle school like depressed. It was just hilarious. But so that was kind of like my introduction to coding and blogging. And then when it comes to web design, again in COVID, when I had a lot of extra time and money, is when I started like a Squarespace website, and I did the same thing of customizing the whole site. I never actually published it, and I actually canceled my membership and subscription to it. So I still have it. I just never published it, and I don't do the subscription on it. So it still exists. It just isn't paid for. But I do own my own domains, so that like no matter whatever the future holds with my filmmaking or my creative endeavors and my journey, I own 𝑀arleySilva.com and I own �itsMarleySilva.com. So it's just nice to know, like, you know, when life happens for me and when things progress, I own my own website, which is really cool. I own the domains. So yeah, that was kind of into like web design, and I started coding on my Windows PC that I did the Photoshop on. I swear to God, that computer got so hot and the fan was always running crazy. You could fry a fucking egg on it. But yeah, and then during COVID, I started a website. I never actually like finished it fully or posted it, and then I just own my own domains now. So yeah. Okay, so now we're coming towards the end. I'll touch on audio a little bit. So I don't know why I attract like musicians or guitar players. I think I like have a type, but I want to punch that guy in the face. But I know that there's like a MIDI and there's like an in and out, and then like when you go into Logic, you have to like bounce it, the audio, and you can't have it clip. And on this microphone, it took me like a week to set up. Like me and my ex, he was like holding the camera, and then I would he would tell me if it was clipping. We'd adjust the settings. So I learned a lot about audio, and audio is extremely important, especially when it comes to filmmaking, because it can be pretty to look at, but if it sucks to listen to, it's not enjoyable. I apologize for my neighbor in the background, because I apologize, and it wasn't in the first recording, but I lost the footage, so I'm really sorry, you guys. My mood is just shot. I feel so bad, but I don't think I've ever had to re-record a video, ever. I'm humbled. All right, and then the last topic for my YouTube and film experience and my YouTube journey and my film experience is school. So when I was in high school, I was in a film class and we shot on a red camera, and every year we'd do like a school film. I was never like cool enough or chosen, or nobody really saw me. No one really like saw me. Like I was at the shoots and I would be in the mix, but I was never like acting or directing or the creative designer or really anything. I never really even got to edit it. I was just in the class and I got to visit and see like the sites. I think I was like cleaning the sites. Like I was not fancy at all. No one even really wanted to give me a chance at all ever. So yeah, but it was so cool to have that experience. And I think of like my future and how far I've come with filmmaking. Like sometimes I look at my videos and I'm just like, holy crap, like, you know, I nailed it on the exposure. Like, wow, that color grade looks amazing. Like, you know what I mean? Like your journey, you have to keep going to perfect your craft and to, you know, learn. And it's just so much fun because the more you do it, the better you get. So yeah, I never really had the chance to do it in high school. I was all self-taught, but when I think of my future, it's like so exciting because I've come so far. Like I've literally come so far, and it's been all by myself. I've never gone to school or had anyone help me. I mean, with audio, I've had like many men in my past, boys, whatever, teach me about it, but I've never like gone to school for it or anything. Oh yeah, I also wanted to chat. So I started my first YouTube channel in 2016, I think. It'll show on my main channel when it was created. I had a YouTube account in middle school. This video is just really gonna suck because there's so much bullshit, and it was so good the first time and now it just sucks. I had a YouTube account in middle school, but I never posted on it. I just like subbed and watched videos on it. And then I made my first one in 2016. And then now I have my second channel where I can actually like, it's such a smaller audience that I can like reply to your comments, talk directly to you guys. I see everything. And it's just a really happy place for me. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything I should touch on. I think that's it. Definitely learned my lesson. Gonna make sure my memory cards are empty between shoots. I'm gonna turn on the auto switching the card feature and you know, make sure that doesn't happen again. It is kind of a morale killer, I'm not gonna lie. My mood from the first take to the second take is so different because I can't fake my energy and I can't like recreate something that was. It was for what it was, and now it's gone, and this is what it is. But I hope you guys see me and see my heart, and I love you guys so much. And again, I'm really sorry that my mood shifted. It's just losing that footage and having to redo it. I feel like I've missed so many talking points. I feel like I've missed so many talking points that were just like organic and raw from the first take, and I've tried to bring them back in the second take, but I think I might have, I hope I didn't forget anything. I think I covered the majority of it. But yeah, I love you guys a lot. Thank you for always being there. I hope you enjoyed hearing my journey and, you know, where I've come and where I'm going. I would love to film this video again in the future and just update you guys and redo it so it's articulated the way it was the first time. And yeah, I love you guys a lot, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye guys. I wanna kill myself. I wanna kill my grandma. I wanna kill my dad.
I wanna kill my mom. I wanna kill my dad. I wanna kill my grandma.
Oh my god, I'm still recording.